Why did Achilles refuse to fight? The Iliad explained. Warning: this video contains spoilers for Homer's Iliad, Greek mythology, and Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. While Achilles does not appear alive during the events of the Odyssey, understanding why he refused to fight in the Iliad is essential to understanding why he became the greatest warrior in Greek mythology. Now, let's begin. Imagine being the greatest warrior the world has ever known. An army cannot win without you. Kings fear you. Enemies pray you never enter the battlefield. And yet, at the very moment your side needs you most, you simply refuse to fight. No injury, no fear, no betrayal by the enemy. Instead, Achilles walks away because of an insult. At first, that decision seems unbelievably selfish. After all, thousands of Greek soldiers die, while their greatest champion sits in his tent. But Achilles' refusal isn't really about pride alone. It's about honor, respect, power, and a conflict that changes the entire course of the Trojan War. Without Achilles leaving the battlefield, there would be no greatest tragedy in the Iliad. No death of Patroclus. No return of the greatest hero. And perhaps no fall of Troy. So why did Achilles refuse to fight? Let's explain. Who was Achilles? Before understanding his decision, we need to understand who Achilles was. Achilles was the son of the mortal king Peleus and the sea goddess Thetis. Because of his divine heritage, he was stronger, faster, and more skilled than any other Greek warrior. When the Greek kings united to attack Troy after Paris took Helen, Achilles became their greatest weapon. Even Agamemnon, commander of the Greek army, knew that victory depended largely on Achilles. But despite his incredible strength, Achilles wasn't the king. He fought under Agamemnon's command. That relationship would eventually lead to disaster. The dispute with Agamemnon. The conflict begins after the Greeks capture 2 Trojan women during one of their raids. Agamemnon claims Briseis as his prize. Achilles receives Briseis. Soon afterward, the god Apollo sends a deadly plague upon the Greek camp because Agamemnon refuses to return Briseis to her father, a priest of Apollo. Faced with mounting deaths, Agamemnon reluctantly agrees to give Briseis back. But he demands compensation. Instead of accepting the loss, he takes Briseis from Achilles. To modern audiences, this might seem like an argument over a person, but in the world of Homer, it represented something much larger. Briseis was a symbol of Achilles' honor and status. By taking her away, Agamemnon publicly humiliated the greatest warrior in the Greek army. Honor meant everything. To understand Achilles' anger, we need to understand ancient Greek values. Heroes fought not only for victory, they fought for time, meaning honor and recognition. Every prize reflected a warrior's achievements. When Agamemnon seized Briseis, he wasn't simply taking a captive. He was declaring that Achilles' service meant nothing. For Achilles, that insult was worse than any wound suffered in battle. He believed that if his sacrifices earned him no respect, there was no reason to risk his life for Agamemnon. His refusal to fight became an act of protest. Achilles walks away. Instead of attacking Troy, Achilles withdraws from the war. He returns to his ships and refuses every request to rejoin the battle. His loyal Myrmidons remain with him. Without their greatest warrior, the Greeks begin losing ground. Trojan forces, led by Hector, drive the Greeks back toward their ships. One defeat follows another. Even then, Achilles refuses to fight. His anger has become stronger than his desire for victory. In one of the poem's most famous moments, Achilles even asks his mother, the sea goddess Thetis, to persuade Zeus to let the Trojans win for a time. Why? Because only then would the Greeks realize how badly they needed him. It was a shocking request. Achilles wanted his own allies to suffer simply to prove his value. Patroclus changes everything. The turning point comes through Achilles' closest companion, Patroclus. Unable to watch the Greeks continue losing, Patroclus begs Achilles for permission to wear his armor into battle. Achilles agrees but gives him one important instruction: drive the Trojans away. Do not chase them to the walls of Troy. Patroclus ignores that warning. Inspired by early success, he pursues the Trojans too far. There he encounters Hector, the greatest warrior of Troy. Hector kills Patroclus, believing he has slain Achilles himself. When the news reaches Achilles, everything changes. The anger he once directed toward Agamemnon is replaced by overwhelming grief. For Achilles, losing Patroclus is a far greater tragedy than losing Briseis. Achilles returns to battle. Patroclus's death finally brings Achilles back into the war. His mother, Thetis, asks the god Hephaestus to forge magnificent new armor for her son. Armed once again, Achilles returns to the battlefield with only one goal: to confront Hector. The duel between the two greatest warriors in the Trojan War becomes one of the defining moments of Greek mythology. Achilles defeats Hector outside the walls of Troy, but his victory comes at a terrible cost. His rage pushes him beyond the limits of honor. Instead of returning Hector's body to his family, Achilles drags it behind his chariot around the walls of Troy. Only later, after King Priam personally begs for his son's body, does Achilles finally show compassion. It is one of the most moving scenes in all of ancient literature. Why this matters in the Odyssey. Although Achilles dies before the events of the Odyssey, his choices continue to influence the story. When Odysseus journeys into the underworld, he meets Achilles' spirit. Instead of celebrating his eternal fame, Achilles tells Odysseus something unexpected. He says he would rather be alive as the poorest servant than rule over all the dead. It is a powerful reminder that glory comes with a terrible price. The greatest warrior in Greek mythology ultimately values life more than everlasting fame. That conversation gives new meaning to everything Achilles fought for in the Iliad. Final thoughts. So, why did Achilles refuse to fight? Not because he was afraid, not because he had been defeated. He refused because Agamemnon publicly stripped away his honor by taking Briseis, insulting the greatest warrior in the Greek army. For Achilles, respect was worth more than victory. But his decision carried devastating consequences. His absence allowed Troy to gain the upper hand. It led to the death of Patroclus. It brought Achilles back into the war driven by grief rather than glory, and it forever changed the course of the Trojan War. In the end, the Iliad isn't simply a story about battles. It's a story about pride, honor, friendship, loss, and the terrible cost of anger. What do you think? Was Achilles justified in refusing to fight after Agamemnon humiliated him? Or should he have put the lives of his fellow soldiers before his own pride? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more Greek mythology, the Iliad, the Odyssey, movie explainers, hidden details, and entertainment news. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.